Welcome to another episode of Grit on the Rocks podcast. Yes. Welcome, everyone. Welcome. Yes. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for being here. Today, we're talking about something every man needs to get right. How to treat your wife like the queen that she is. It's not about being nice, fellas. We're talking about respect, humor, and how to keep things spicy when life throws you curveballs. So light one up, pour a drink, and let's get into it.
This podcast is a Buenos Diaz media production.
This is the Grit on the Rocks podcast, where raw conversations meet smooth sips. Pull up a chair, pour your favorite drink, puff on your favorite cigar, and join us as we dive into the convos that matter. No scripts, no barriers, just unfiltered truth served straight up. Cheers to the real ones out there. Salud.
Welcome back, my brothers and
That's good to know.
sisters. Yeah,
See, they gotta
because
find
women
out our
listen
secrets
to
now.
us as well. I know this is the space. It's a space for men, but yeah, women do listen. And this is Grit on the Rocks podcast, a Buenos Diaz media production. So, today we are touching on a topic that most men don't really like talking about. Sometimes these conversations force people to look at themselves and question their whole demeanor in their home life. And this may be uncomfortable
Right.
for some, but we are a podcast, right? Where we talk about real man issues, and how we treat our significant other is a big part of who we are as men. Because truth be told, how we treat those we love says tons about us,
Yes,
no matter what we say about ourselves.
The views and opinions expressed by the host, guest, and/or participants of this show do not necessarily reflect the opinions of Buenos Diaz Media LLC, its associates, partners, and show sponsors. The content is intended for entertainment purposes and should not be construed as professional advice. Listener discretion is advised.
Yes. So with that out the way, let's jump right into it. Right, let's jump right into this. And my hope is that everyone gets some type of value from this. Instead of deflecting and nitpicking to find something that will offend them, I hope they gain value, men and women alike. So I'm going to share some rules, right? If you want to call them rules, you can look at them as ingredients in a recipe, or however the fuck you want to look at it. It's just pay attention. All right?
No, I'm saying that, like, what we're gonna talk about is like from
Mhm.
our point of view, and I would like to, hear a woman say or give an opinion about what we're talking about. See if we're saying something incorrect or I don't know, just their point of view.
All right. So, women who are listening, feel free to drop your comment in the comment section. Feel free. I don't know if the podcast lets you leave a comment, but if you're watching us through YouTube or Rumble, you can feel free to drop a comment. You can go to Facebook, Instagram, or TikTok and leave us a comment or send us a DM. Or you can go to gritontheRocks.com, scroll to the bottom to the Contact Us section, and send us a message.
There you go.
So, number one, respecting your wife or your significant other, right? Not every man has a wife. Maybe man has a husband. Doesn't
Yeah.
matter. Talking about the significant other.
Nowadays, yeah, that's what you got to look at.
So, let's dive into one of the first rules of being a real man who has a wife. It is RSPECT. All right. I'll make sure I spell it right.
RSP.
So RESPECT.
Just remember
Your
the
wife.
song.
Yes. RESPECT, your wife. Now, I know we've all heard the phrase happy wife, happy life. And some of you are probably rolling your eyes, but listen up. Respect goes beyond just doing things that she might want. It's about valuing her opinions, being there when she needs you, and most importantly, listening, even when she's venting about her coworkers for the third time this week. It's not only about nodding, right? Doing this, for those of you who are watching on YouTube. It's not about just nodding, but actually listening and validating her feelings.
Yeah, give a little opinion about what you think.
Exactly. Don't just do like the Chris Rock bit, right? Have you ever seen the stand-up where he goes, I told you that bitch was crazy? You know, don't just add that. Just actually listen. And yes, sometimes we have to check our wives and remind them of self-awareness. You know, not to undermine her, but because you love her, you want what's best for her. And we all need to be reminded that we're not always right. Now, mind you, these are private conversations. Since I don't believe that anyone should be checking anyone in front of other people. That's not cool. Doesn't make you look good, doesn't make you look cool. Either way, man to women, women to man, women to women. It doesn't look right when you're checking them in front of people. That makes you look bad, not them. So, you know, that sends a whole other message about you and your relationship.
Yeah, the message is you're a douche.
That, yeah, can be part of the message that you're sending, yes. So, an example that I learned early on that I told you so. When you say I told you so,
that's another one.
It's a death sentence in an argument. This is a sure way to turn the gun on yourself. It can be a situation that has nothing to do with you. And by using those 4 words, all that anger and her wrath will go on you.
There's another way to say I told you so without saying I told you so. You could say I vastly informed you.
Yeah, that's no. And that's a way, I'm telling you, that's a way for you to.
That's a polite way of saying it.
Then you're sitting there awkwardly because now you don't know what to say next. When all that anger turns on you, yeah. So remember, fellas, nodding while you zone out is not respect. If you don't listen, don't be surprised when you're asked to pick up, you know, a thingy from the store. Now you're stuck staring blankly at the shelves full of kitchen gadgets and stuff because you don't remember exactly what they said because all you were doing was this. Yes. All right. So when we talk about listening, sometimes that's all you have to do. That's another one. Shut up and listen. That's it. Don't offer any input. You know, I myself am working on that one, right? I will admit I am guilty that sometimes I give the input when all I should do is just be quiet, listen, acknowledge, you know, do the nodding, but actually paying attention, right? So sometimes we want to help, right? We want to validate their feelings by offering opinions, and we do it with the best of intentions, but sometimes that is not what is needed. So what do you need to do? Learn how to read the room. And it's hard. I know it's hard. Sometimes, again, you know, and you just want to, that's what I'm saying. I'm guilty of this because, yeah, sometimes my wife will vent and maybe all she wants to do is be heard, right? That's all she wants is to be heard.
Blow off steam.
Yeah, and it's like, you know, you feel like you want to offer help and you offer opinions and then it just ruins the whole conversation. So, yeah, let's work on reading the room, just being quiet, validating. Yes. Oh, I agree. Oh, yes. That's it. Don't offer any input, any opinions.
Once you say something and if it's wrong and you get that death stare, forget it. It's over. It's a wrap.
Yeah. It can be difficult, man. I get it. This is why, again, at Grid of the Rocks podcast, we talk about real man issues. And I know that us men, we deal with this. But, I know women don't have it easy either. I know they deal with difficult men, and, someday I guess we'll hear about it. Again, leave us the comments. Let us know what you go through, and et cetera, et cetera.
Mm-hmm. Maybe
Okay,
we could give that advice.
Yeah.
Give that advice, like, out to our, our listeners. Give them that advice of what a woman expects from us.
Yeah.
What would they like?
Leave the comment. We will be reading. We will be sharing. Okay, so another way, another rule, another ingredient to this recipe of how to treat your wife is keeping the humor in your relationship. Keep in mind, I've heard from women, and I've said this before, that one of the ways into a woman's pants, even if you ain't a looker, is by making them laugh. This is why some men don't like other men making their wives laugh. This is one of the main reasons I tend to be very stoic around women, right? This is me personally. Most people tell me that I have a face. I've been told that I have a resting bitch face. I've heard it all. Or that I look upset all the time, and it's just my face, especially amongst women. That's just who I am. I mean, so that is until they get to know me. But I prefer to be that way around women, especially in a professional setting, or women that I know are in a relationship, just to avoid confusion. I don't want to come off as someone who's trying to be, cute with the women. I don't believe in that. But humor is the glue that keeps everything together. You can't take life too seriously, especially in marriage. If you can make her laugh, you're halfway to winning any argument. I consider myself to be someone who has a great sense of humor. I consider myself to be sometimes funny, but somehow that doesn't seem to translate too well.
And I guess I pan out the way you want.
No, I just feel like, I guess my wife sometimes thinks I don't have a great sense of humor. I don't know.
Well, it depends on the situation, I guess.
It's just, I don't know. It's my face. It's my face. I can find something hilarious. I'll say something sarcastically, and maybe my face, it doesn't translate what I'm trying to say. And also,
what you trying to say to me?
I'm trying to work on my face because, I've had that issue many times where I say things sarcastically, and I'm truly joking, and people might take it serious, and I don't know. It's the face. I can't do anything about my face, I guess, but I'm working on that. Listen, I'll be the first one to admit things if I'm aware of them. You don't know what you don't know, so when you become aware of it, it's good to work on that. So I'm working on my face. So an example is I've been married long enough to know that laughter cures about anything. Right? And this is me personally. I randomly talk about funny shit or a quote from a show that I know she enjoys. And not always, but sometimes that clears the air. And if it makes her laugh, it opens the space for dialect. Other times I'll just remove myself and, understand that she needs space. So I'll just remove myself from the situation in order to de-escalate.
Just slowly back out.
Yeah.
Slowly back out.
Sometimes that's the best response is no response.
Yeah, it's like having a viper in front of you, You need to back out slowly.
Yeah, sometimes it's best to walk away because when you have, and this is not me personally, but right in a relationship, when you have these like heated discussions, the more you keep putting wood in the fire is gonna light up more until somebody says something crazy, something they don't mean, or something they've had like deep down in their heart that they shouldn't have said, and now it becomes weird. Now there's more healing to do, right? And I hate using that term, but I mean, it just opens doors for things to get way worse before they get better. So sometimes
a quick escalate.
Yeah. If you can make your wife laugh at your dumb jokes, you basically got a free pass for at least one minor screw up. Just don't overdo it, because you can make fun of yourself only so many times before the laughs stop coming.
If
So
that doesn't work, become Houdini. Just disappear at the moment.
remove yourself, man. Go to the couch, pretend you're watching TV. I don't know, pretend you're cleaning, just pretend you're reading. Just move away and wait for things to, cool down.
Right.
All right, so let's take a quick break and we'll be right back after this. You are listening to Grit on the Rocks podcast, a Buenos Diaz media production. Leave us your feedback on gritontheRocks.com or participate in one of our show segments through the Contact Us sections of gritontheRocks.com. We will be right back.
Looking to connect with like-minded men who share your drive for success and passion for the finer things in life? Welcome to the Apex Gentlemen's Guild, a private members club for men who value ambition, camaraderie, giving back, and personal growth. For a limited time while we're fully remote, you can join the guild for free. Gain access to tons of motivational content, exclusive events, insightful discussions, and a network of high-performance individuals. Don't miss this chance to elevate your social circle. Request to join today at facebook.com/groups/Apex Gentlemen's Guild, or give us a like at facebook.com/Apex Gentlemen's Guild. The Apex Gentlemen's Guild, excellence forged in unity.
Okay, so this one we're going to talk about now. I am also been guilty, even though it's been unintentionally. Again, I'm being very honest, very open here. You know, this one I've had to check myself, even when I do it unintentionally, because it might not be my intention. Again, it's the face. Sometimes my tone of sarcasm comes off the wrong way. I'm working on that, man. Just like you should be working on whatever you identify with. Be honest. So let's talk about communication without ego. Let's talk about ego for a second. Fellas, first of all, leave it at the door. If you're treating your wife with respect, humor, and love, there's no room for inflated egos. That's not what I'm guilty of, just in case. Communication is about understanding, not being right. An example, an argument about something so silly like how to load a dishwasher and acting like it was the most important thing in the world. Spoiler alert, it's not. Then she lets you win. But the real victory comes when you realize how dumb you sounded. Now you let her load it however she likes and problem solve, right? It's using a dishwasher. Sometimes we'll have arguments about just silly things, you know?
Yeah,
And
these guys want recognition. I guess that's what you're trying to say.
Not recognition. I guess it's just sometimes men, and again, this is not what I'm guilty of. I'm referring to when it comes off, if I'm communicating, if it comes off as I'm doing it with ego. That's about it. That's what I recognize for myself. But the reality is some men and some women do it too. They bark something at their significant other and they want it to be done exactly how they want it. And it could be the dumbest shit, like the example we shared here with the dishwasher. She loads the dishwasher a certain way, but no, that's not how you do it. So you want to tell her how she's wrong and how you're right. It's a stupid argument. And you're arguing, the key word being arguing, over nonsense. So just let her do it how the fuck she wants to do it. If it doesn't really affect you in any way, it doesn't take away from you or her or your life or your peace, let it go.
Yeah. If not, just do it. If you have to do it the way she wants. You'll have a peaceful day.
Listen, pro tip. If you ever find yourself arguing about chores, just stop. Because you might win the argument. But you know what? You'll be stuck doing those chores for the next week. So just stop. And now it's time for some whiskey bar wisdom, where one of our listeners sends in a story for some good old-fashioned, unprofessional, unsolicited advice. Even though all we offer is maybe an opinion, maybe we'll just make fun of the story. We don't really offer advice, but yeah. Whiskey bar wisdom.
Now it's time for some whiskey bar wisdom. All right, there's nothing magical about it. Here, drink this. Tell me what's on your mind. Come on.
Okay, so this comes directly from Montana. Matt in Montana. He says, "Hey man, I've been married for 5 years." I don't know if he talks like that. That's the voice in my head right now. "And my wife always tells me I don't listen. The thing is, I swear I hear her, but it's like the second she finishes talking, I completely forget everything. I sit, I nod, and sometimes chime in with my 2 cents, but still, it's like I completely delete all the information I just downloaded from the conversation. Any tips on staying focused?" Matt.
I don't think there is anything you can do, because if you don't want to listen, you just space out. No matter how much you sit there, you look like you're listening, but you're spacing out. So you're not really listening, you know?
Yeah, man, that's I just gotta say, wow.
No. Now, one thing I do ask, does she have an annoying voice? Maybe that's the issue.
I don't know, man, but
Because if it's a high pitched, if it's a high pitched voice,
yeah,
you're gonna tend to like just space out. You don't want to listen to that. But who knows?
I don't know. Listen, I get it. If you're busy, let's say you're watching a sport game.
Dude, that's not busy.
Hold up. If you're watching sports, or you mean you're really into sport. We're not into sports, so we don't understand that. But some people are really into sports, and that's their time to decompress and whatever it is and unwind from the day. Want to sit and watch the game. Okay. And if you're focused, or if you're watching a boxing match, MMA fight, whatever it is, and all of a sudden your wife comes and she starts talking about curtains, you will pretend to listen, but you're not really listening. You'll be like this, yeah, you just want her to go away, right?
Right.
Sometimes we even repeat back to her what she just said, right? This is all part of the act of we're listening, but we're not really paying attention. We just do it to make it seem like we are, right?
Yeah, you repeat back the keywords.
Yes.
Yeah. Curtains. Yeah. Putting up.
The problem with that is that it opens up the "I told you this a long time ago" line in the future, right? And this is when you're like, oh, you didn't say anything. Yeah, I told you this, right? And you get called out on it later. But as a man, I have to say this. You are a true piece of shit if your wife is talking to you, right? She's having a full-fledged conversation with you and you completely blow her off in your mind. That's a really fucked up move. I mean, to be honest, right? And as a man, I'm telling you, that is not cool. It's super disrespectful. And I mean, either way, if you're the one who's talking and your wife does that to you, that's a real dick move, Yeah, it's being very disrespectful, and you shouldn't do that, especially to your significant other. Because one thing I gotta tell you, weird things happen when a woman feels like she's being abandoned emotionally. So, giving you that tip of advice, men, when you do that to a woman and she catches you on it, even if she doesn't say it, you are emotionally abandoning her, and that adds up until they reach a tipping point, and that's where weird things, right? Let's just say weird.
I gotta say specific.
Shit happens, and then you're really gonna be like, oh, what the fuck, man? Blah, blah, blah. Okay, so just in case, Matt, take that into consideration.
Yeah, still these guys have to watch out anyway, because Nowadays, everybody pulls out a phone, they start recording. So when you say no, that I was listening, they got you on video. Yeah,
Yeah.
you're in the doghouse.
All right. So let's continue with some rules. Let's go with number 4, which is small gestures mean everything. We all know, right? The big romantic gestures are great, but it's the small everyday things that matter the most. Make her coffee in the morning, leave her a note in her lunch, or send her a random text just to say, I'm thinking about you. It's not rocket science, men. Sometimes, a dirty text might come into play to keep things spicy.
Mm-hmm.
But sometimes a simple compliment goes a long way. I text my wife every morning when she arrives at work, right? I know, approximately how long it takes her to get to work. We both leave the house together in the morning. We go our separate ways. When she arrives at work, she usually lets me know I'm here. Or I'll text her before, but I always text her, to have a blessed day and to tell her that I love her. And, I do the same thing with my son, like, hey, well, have a great day. Love you, whatever. God bless. But yeah, this is something that I do every day. And if I am busy at work and I got caught up in the day, she'll do the same to me. So these are things that keep it, going and moving how it should. Right? Some people buy chocolate or flowers just because, right? That doesn't mean that there's an anniversary or anything special. It's just because.
Yeah, a quick surprise.
Yeah, and she'll appreciate it because
Mm-hmm.
it's the little moments that count, right? You know what? Forget the flowers. Bring her home a snack that she really likes, and you'll be golden. Just make sure it's something that you don't want to eat later, and then. But yeah. But sometimes it could be something as simple as a snack, a favorite, I don't know, chocolate or candy or whatever, a treat, whatever it is.
Wow, that treat sounds like something you would do with a dog.
Yeah. Well. So remember, you can always, this is a quick reminder aside from the topic, right? Remember, you can always become a sponsor of the show, one of our segments, or the website. Just go to gritontheRocks.com and scroll down to the contact us section and send us a message.
Yeah, that would be our treat.
So with that said, let's jump into some Barstool banter.
Barstool Banter, brought to you by Buenos Diaz Media, where great stories come to life. Welcome to Barstool Banter, the segment where your wildest, funniest, and most unforgettable stories take center stage. Whether it's that crazy night out with the guys, a hilarious encounter at the bar, a day out with the family, or an unforgettable moment with friends, we want to hear it all. Each week, we dive into your emails, share the best stories, and pick our favorite one, and who knows, maybe even win a prize. So grab a drink, light it up, pull up a stool, and let's get into some Barstool banter.
All right, so now it's time for some Barstool banter, where you send in your funniest, wild stories about life, relationships, and everything in between. So let's see what you guys have for us this week. First message comes to us through our contact us section of gritontheRocks.com. And the subject is when barbecuing goes wrong. This is sent from Dave from Ohio. Hey guys, Dave here from Ohio. So let me set the stage. It's my buddy's annual barbecue, and I'm in charge of the grill. A sacred honor, right? I'm flipping burgers, feeling like the king of the backyard, when all of a sudden the propane runs out. No big deal. I figure I'll just switch tanks real quick. Only I forgot the real quick part. So I turn around to chat, leaving half the food on the grill, and completely forget to turn the knob off. So let's just say I come back to a fireball worthy of a Fast and Furious movie scene. Not only did I ruin the burgers, but I also managed to scorch my eyebrows right off. Lesson learned. Don't let Dave handle the propane next year. Anyway, hope my disaster brought you guys a laugh. Dave from Ohio.
That reminds me of the Eddie Murphy. Now that's a fire.
All right, so second one comes from Mike from Florida. The subject is the Great Ice Cream Heist. Hey, it's Mike from sunny Florida. So picture this. It's late at night. I'm craving ice cream, and I know we have a tub of it in the freezer. I head to the kitchen, open the freezer, and nothing. Not a single spoonful in sight. So I'm thinking, no way my wife just finished the whole thing. So I look around like it's a crime scene. Turns out my 6-year-old stashed it behind the frozen veggies to keep it safe from me. I mean, how low can I sink that I'm outwitted by a first grader in my own house? She wakes up the next morning, looks at me like I'm a rookie and says, "Guess the veggies won, Dad." Got to admit, that was a solid move. Anyway, just thought you guys would get a kick out of my kid pulling one over on me.
Hey, you got to tip the hat to the kid.
Yep.
It is smart.
So let's see. We have we have Tom from New York. Okay, I was gonna say he didn't write a name. It says, "Hey guys, Tom here from New York. So I'm in the airport. Flight's delayed. Surprise, surprise. And I decided to hit the restroom real quick. No big deal, right? Wrong. As I'm finishing up, I reach for the toilet paper, only to find there's none. Not a single square. And of course, my stall neighbor was already gone, and the next guy over has headphones in, humming to himself. I start doing this awkward little sidestep, peeking under the stalls like I'm on a secret mission, until finally some kind soul takes pity on me and tosses a roll. I walk out of there with my head high, but I swear half the terminal saw me and had a good laugh. If you ever get desperate, guys, just remember, humility starts at the airport stall. Cheers and thanks for the laughs.
He could have whooped out of one of his socks, you know.
Ugh.
If not, how the hell he knows that the guy, 2 stalls down, was using headphones?
I don't
He
know.
could have been
So he was humming to
humming.
himself. I don't know. Maybe he called out to him and he didn't answer. I don't know.
Nah, you know what? The kind soul, he should be on the hero of the day.
Listen,
That was
all
the good
heroes
deed.
don't wear capes. Yep. So let's see. Who do I think is?
I'm in between 1 and 2. I mean 1 and 3.
I do
Even though the
like.
kid one was okay.
Yeah. And I think number one for me, I guess,
Yeah, because it just the eyebrow thing, burning
Yeah.
up the whole shit.
So Dave from Ohio, you win nothing, but you got your story on the show. Yeah, man. Better luck next time when we have a prize. Sorry, but yeah, you're the winner of the day. Shout out to you, winner. And who was that? What was
Pat
that?
on the back.
Yeah, I'll give you a handshake, a pat on the back. Dave from Ohio. Great story.
A handshake, a pat on the back, and the tip of the hat.
So, people, please keep submitting your stories. Add shit, make it funny. If you have to, because this is all for entertainment purposes, so it needs to entertain. Okay, so I think the last one that I have here before we jump into hero of the day is value your wife. And this covers, right, like a few things into one. So when we look at the whole attitude of I'm a man and don't question me where I'm going, that's a no-go. I value my wife, right? And therefore, I think she should know what's going on with me, right? Just like I would expect that from her. I want to know what's going on. Listen, and it's not about, and this is very common in PR, right? Your friends, and you say like, listen, I'm gonna let my wife know, like, I'm doing this. Oh, are you asking for permission? That's not the point. Point is, I like them to know, and I do the same thing with my son. I'll let him know, like, listen, I'm gonna be here, and if I'm moving somewhere, I'll send them another text. Listen, because God forbid, I'm always thinking about what if something happens.
What if? Mhm.
I want them to know where they can find me. All right. So let's see. I shouldn't have to say this, but some men and women need to learn a lesson or two when it comes to valuing their spouses. There should be no feeling of superiority amongst couples. You have united and become one, period. I feel like a lot of people skip that part, right? When you get married, and I mean, according to the Bible, if you get married in church, right? Because this is the part where people don't look, but the Bible is whatever. It's an old book. If you get married by the church, you're getting married according to what the Bible says, right? And the Bible says that, a man and a woman shall unite and become one. So when you are becoming one, you're confessing your unity in front of people and God and the church, you become one. It's like when it comes to finances amongst couples, you have united and become one, right? There should be no my money, your money. You are one.
Our money.
Everything should be ours. Doesn't matter if one works and the other one doesn't. Like we spoke in the last episode, you're carrying the weight of the household. Maybe one works, the other one's a homemaker. Maybe you both work and you're both homemakers. Maybe, I don't know, both of you are bumming it out at home and you're both homemakers. I don't know how that works, but you never know, right? So you have to understand that everything is one. We carry the weight together. So there should be no my money, your money, and there should be my stuff, your stuff. It should be our stuff. And there definitely shouldn't be my money. What is it? My stuff, or my money is my money and your money is my money. That should
I hate that phrase.
There should be no room for that in a relationship, right? So value your wife, treat her like a lady. I hate to sound cliche, but a woman should be treated like a delicate flower, right? If you want to look at it that way, she should be spoken to like a woman you love. I grew up, right? I know we were raised to respect women, to be a gentleman with women. So even if it's not a woman that I love, I shouldn't be talking crazy to her, right? It's just how I see it, right? It was embedded in us, I guess, right?
Yeah, always speak kindly.
But especially to the woman that you love. I mean, it could be, if you have kids together, that's the mother of your children. So she should be spoken to with respect and kindness and compassion. And if you have a daughter, you got to think about, how would you want your daughter to be spoken to? How would you want your daughter to be treated by her significant other? Based on that, right, there's people that say that when you have daughters, the way you treat your wife sets the example of what they will accept when they get older. So if you treat your wife like shit, your daughter, when she grows up, she will accept to be spoken to like shit. So have that in mind, right?
Yeah, you know what? There's this is not saying that it's gonna make everything perfect, but there's no such thing as a perfect marriage.
No, of course not.
There's no such thing. We're not saying that, you guys are gonna agree with everything. There's gonna be spats.
Yeah.
You just try to avoid it, and try to have it like making less casualties.
Exactly. And we share this as men. And I know we joke around and all that stuff. But the truth is, these are things that have to be talked about. And it's not a conversation that you really have amongst men just like that.
Mhm.
You know, it's not something where you open up about, hey, you know, this and that, or another
Yeah.
man telling you like, you know, oh, your wife. So that's why, like, this is based on the internet. Obviously, I'm looking for information, looking for articles and stuff like that, and what do people say and opinions, and I'm putting it all together. Right? It's paraphrasing what I see. But the truth is, these conversations should happen, even if it's this way, where you have, you know, some men telling men how it should be. Are we perfect? No. Do we have it all figured out? Of course not. We all fail. You know, we all fall short.
Everyone has their moments.
But the idea is for you to become aware of it. And maybe if there's something that we talk about here and you're like, oh, you know what? Maybe, yeah, that's me, man. That's something I might have to work on. That's the idea behind this episode. Right? So treat your wife with care, with delicacy. And sure, there are moments, right, in your intimacy where you can be a little rough. That's acceptable if she's into that.
To a certain point.
That's what I'm saying. If she's into that,
Yeah, don't go overboard.
but you should never treat your wife like a sex object either. You know, that's not the idea. And you definitely, and this I've seen on TV, not that I know anyone, but I've seen it on TV where you see men talking about intimate moments with their wives, with their buddies. It's not acceptable.
That's a no-no.
It's not the same thing as a booty call. When you're single, you have a booty call, like, oh man, I was with this chick last night. And you tell the story. That's different. I'm not saying
That's
it's
a big no-no right
good
there.
to do, but men do that. And women do it too. But when it comes to your wife, that is totally, totally sacred, right? You know, and again, I'm all about masculinity and doing manly shit. I'm all about that. But I also, I do believe we need our bro time. I do believe we all need our space, just like women need their girl time and, their girl talk and, maybe going out to dinner, having some wine with their friends or whatever it is, where they can talk like they never talk in the house, where they can just be, transparent with their friends. That's fine. Just like men need it. But when it comes to my home, right, my kingdom, my wife, which is my queen, and my children, right? My prince and princess, if you want to look at it that way, we're using the whole kingdom theme. That is just sacred. I don't think that has any space to be, in like buddy conversations or making fun of it and stuff like that. Like, no. Your wife, your spouse is sacred. And I say this to women too. Your husband, your spouse is sacred, and it should be treated as such. So value your spouse. Here we put value your wife because we're talking to men how to treat their wife. But yes, value your spouse. So before we wrap it up, let's jump into some hero of the day.
You're listening to Grit on the Rocks podcast, and it's time for Hero of the Day, the segment where we celebrate everyday acts of kindness and the unsung heroes among us. Whether it's lending a helping hand, going the extra mile for someone in need, or making a positive impact in your community, we're here to honor your good deeds. Each week we share an inspiring story from our listeners and recognize the hero behind it. So sit back, get inspired, and let's raise a glass to the heroes who make the world a better place.
Okay, time for Hero of the Day, where we shout out a man or a woman. So far we've gotten stories from men who's gone above and beyond for his community, maybe his wife, maybe his family, for someone else, right? So today's email comes from Aaron from North Carolina. And it says, Oh, and it was submitted through gritontheRocks.com. Contact us session. Submit your stories, people. It says, my wife's a nurse, and during the pandemic, she worked crazy hours. I didn't know what to do to make it easier, so I took over everything at home. Cooking, cleaning, laundry. I even learned how to bake cookies from scratch for the first time, just so I could surprise her when she came home. It wasn't much, but it made her smile, and that's all that mattered. Aaron.
But those are nice gestures, man. Those are things that you should do. It's not an everyday thing.
Yeah.
It don't have to be an everyday thing, but once in a blue, something like that. Make your wife happy.
Yep.
Come home from hard work, especially depending on what kind of job she has. Because if she has one of those crappy jobs that just like full blown labor, and
she
come
was a nurse.
home
These
to
people during COVID, during the pandemic, she's a nurse, and during the pandemic, these people worked crazy hours. I don't know in PR did they do, like I know here in New York, and I'm assuming I think it was all across America, but I know in New York they kept doing it for a while. Where at 7:00 people would start banging their pots. Did they do that in Puerto Rico?
Yes, they did. Huh? They did that a lot.
They did that here. Every day at 7:00 at night, they would bang their pots through the windows, and all you heard is, it was pretty cool because you would hear it, during the quarantining period where, everything was shut down, everyone was indoors. At 7 at night, you would hear the clapping, the pots through the window, and it was all in honor of, first responders, doctors, nurses, that they were working like crazy hours and putting themselves in danger for the people. So anyway, that's what I'm talking about, brother man. Stepping up when it matters the most. You are our hero of the day. Keep being that guy for her. And if you want to send us some of those cookies that you bake from scratch, if they're any good, we will gladly test them out and tell you if they're trash or if they're good.
Come on, you gotta give the guy some credit, man.
Yeah, no, from scratch, I can't do that.
I've done them, but it's not easy.
No, I've never done. I've done the ones you buy and you just cut and put in the oven. That I've done, but from scratch, no, man, I have not. So, I guess with that we can close the show. That's it for Grit on the Rocks podcast. Remember, respect, humor, showing love and value. Showing love also in the little moments. That's how real men treat their wives. Mm-hmm. In the following weeks, we have music that might make you seem unmanly. Again, that's not the title, but it's the idea behind it. Sounds that annoy men. Pet names that we give each other in the house. That and so much more. Remember, on Fridays, we have our Friday Fumas edition, where we have conversations either with people. Sometimes it's just me. Maybe I smoked a cigar and I'll talk about the cigar. Maybe I'll talk about the whiskey that I drank. Or I'm just shooting the shit with somebody else. Or, JR or whatever it is. It's just a normal, manly conversations that you would have either in a cigar lounge or a whiskey bar or just, shooting the shit with your buddies. Thank you to all our sponsors and listeners for tuning in. Until next time, keep your cigars lit, your drinks poured, and your relationship strong. Remember to keep it gentlemanly, keep it classy. Peace.
Peace.